Good, beautiful morning. I have awoken very refreshed this morning because following what seems like years and years of trying to figure things out and trying to understand the energy, all the energy of Mother Earth. Because humankind has existed on this planet for I don't know how long. That's in dispute, isn't it? But we know so little about her. And since starting the Bealtaine project, trying to understand Mother Earth has been a source of intrigue and delight and ongoing revelation. Indeed, one could say that Bealtaine Cottage has been like a magnifying glass on that revelation. Anyway, what I wanted to tell you was that over recent days I have been doing a huge amount of research into what is called the Gnostic Gospels, the Gnostic writings, Gnosticism. Now, it's up to you if you want to do your own research into what all this means, Gnostic, what that means, and the various ways in which it's been in tiny little bits revealed to us. And it's only one thread of a huge tapestry. Always remember that. It's not the Alpha and the Omega. Because so many people get into a particular realm of revelation and they see it as the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and it's not. It's only a tiny thread. And all these tiny threads go to make up a tapestry that, to my mind's eye, is almost eternal. It just seems to grow bigger and bigger. Now just bear with me a moment while I put down my coffee and open up the tunnel, because I'm standing here with the coffee in one hand and my camera in the other. Right. And then after I've told you about this, I have a few things to show you, things that I was doing yesterday. There we go. Now, but anyway, the long and short of all of this, again, is just one very simple revelation that I feel has, at this time, come to me because it was the right time. It was the right time for this understanding to be woven into this tapestry. And it's quite simply that the Gnostics understood that there was a great, should we call her a goddess? A great goddess that was the life force of our earth, and indeed our small universe. And they called her, they gave her a name. It's a Greek name, similar to the name that James Lovelock gave her, because he gave her the name Gaia. It wasn't just James Lovelock, remember, there was Lynn Margulis as well, the wife of Carl Sagan. And in many ways she's been written out of this story, when really she was in the centre of it. All that understanding of the hypothesis and then the theory of Gaia. But the Gnostics gave her a name, and the name was Sophia. And it's a Greek name. And Sophia translates to wisdom. So this morning, as I was making my coffee, I, as usual, was standing by the kitchen sink and looking out the window at the birds. And for the first time here at Bealtaine, I said, "Good morning, Sophia," as I looked out on the birds and the trees and Kilronan Mountain. And it felt right. I felt as though I was speaking to something very ancient. So there are many, many avenues of discovery on the internet regarding Sophia. Some of them informative, some of them not. If you want to research that, that's very much up to you. All I do is share Bealtaine Cottage and share the little bits of understanding that I come to. But when I said, "Good morning, Sophia," it felt right. So, I have been speaking with a very talented young man called Spen, who is going to be carving from wood a statue of the goddess to put down by the spring well in the fairy wood. And as you know, I've been looking for a name, thinking about what name she should have, not been able to settle on anything. But last night, before I went to bed, I said, "Sophia. She will be called Sophia." Because that name seems to embrace all the wisdom that is within nature, within Mother Earth. And it was something that after my mother died, I got stuck in this little realm of my mother didn't have a name. And I remember saying to my brother, one of my brothers, "Mother didn't have a name." And he says, "Well, of course she had a name, you know. Her name was, Patricia O'Neill." I said, "No, O'Neill was my father's name. We women of the earth don't have a name. We take the name of our fathers, our husbands. We actually don't have," when people say, "Oh, a family name," it is the name of the male in the family. And so my brother said, well, mother's name then was Patricia Taylor Shire. I said, no, Taylor Shire was her father's name and her grandfather's name. So it seems that we women only have our first name. That's pretty profound when you start to think about it. Because on the one hand, I'm very proud of my name O'Neill. But when I think of the name O'Neill, I think of the warrior clan. I think of the High Kings. I think of the great Nile of the 9 hostages, whose name my name comes from. And all the way down through all those hundreds and hundreds of generations of people, the name of the woman was lost. She had no name. She had no history. In my mind's eye, when I think of my family name, I don't see women. But getting away from the women and the man issue, I don't see the feminine. Now, the feminine embraces both sexes. It's not just about the woman. It's about both sexes, because the feminine is what we all carry in us. We carry that little bit of matrilinear DNA that tells us who we are, that really tells us who we are. And it's about the right brain, and it's about the creativity, and it's about the compassion and the love. So I sit quite comfortably with the name Sophia. She doesn't have a family name. Because the divine feminine is all family. It's like when I look at the statue of the Madonna and Child. We don't ask we don't ask Mary's second name. We just say Mary. And that's another interesting concept, that women can stand by their name, their birth name, their given name, their Christian name, whatever you want to call it, their first name. And now I understand why people like Starhawk decided just to go with that one name, Starhawk. Makes perfect sense. I don't want my coffee to go cold this morning. So the name given to the goddess of the well will be Sophia. Wisdom. All of the divine feminine. And the well, the spring well, where hope springs eternal. So I thought I'd share that with you. On this beautiful morning, each day there's more and more colour and shape and form in here. So last night I had a sort of a it was a cheese pizza, which I found in the freezer. I was starting to clear out the freezer in the barn, and I found this cheese pizza. So I put it in the oven, which was hot, and decided to just bake it and do something with it. So I cut it up into pieces, and I put it out on the driveway just outside the front door for the fox. And this morning when I got up, there wasn't a crumb left. So Mr. Fox had a cheese pizza last night. So, yesterday I've been spreading more and more compost and compost. Oh, I'll just show you the compost pile because you can see, look, I'm digging out the most beautiful compost. Look at all those lovely layers. Isn't that beautiful stuff? Beautiful stuff. And all made from the waste from the cottage. Well, the cottage kitchen and the garden and little bits of ash and, you know, just layers and layers of everything. Cold compost, leave it there for a year and look what you get. Beautiful stuff. So I've been spreading that, and I dug out quite a lot of it yesterday because I thought I've mulched this bed, which is lovely, which is going to keep all the weedy bits away. I thought, okay, now that it's mulched, this is a really good opportunity to put rubus down. Now this rubus is also called Himalayan raspberry, I think it is. It's got lots of different names, but I think the Latin name is rubus. Listen to those birds. Am I going to get a word in edgeways here? So I just cut, 20 or so pieces of rubus, and I laid it down. See? And I put a few handfuls of homemade compost on the top, just to weigh it down, and also to encourage it to put down roots. Now, I'm hoping that by the end of the summer, this entire bed will be covered with rubus, which, as you know, is a fantastic ground cover. It flowers, so there's these flowers that the bees adore, and then once pollinated, those flowers turn into beautiful fruits, a cross between a raspberry and a blackberry. So that's my very, what would it be called, ground layer or first layer, if you're looking to build up a food forest. So the rubus is down there. It's not going to affect the rhubarb because it can be quite easily just clipped and kept in a nice shape behind the rhubarb. It's not going to affect the black currants rising up above it. And it's just going to ensure that I will never have to go and mulch this bed again. It'll cover it and basically stop anything else coming through because of the shade it will give. So I might put a couple more bits in here. It's a very simple thing to do. And then I planted a few more little, you can't even see the little shrub in there because it's a tiny little thing. And then a little piece of forsythia. You might be able to see the yellow in there. And then further on some spirea. So I put another 3 shrubs into this bed. Because of course the more you plant, the less weeds have got room to grow. So you say plants are probably the best weed killers. Because you can look round Bealtaine Cottage and you hardly see any rushes now. hardly any rushes, and yet I never killed the rushes with chemicals. I never applied chemicals, or I never dug them out or anything like that. I simply planted and mulched and trimmed and mowed. And it takes the time and a lot of hard work, but you eventually get there. Some beautiful daffodils. So yes, I'm delighted now with all this compost, because I'll be able to get the other little potager beds done round the front, and I've got masses of compost to put into them, because there'll be 2 of them, I think. And I might build some compost up round the little bits of hedging I put in down there. So this is my, I think I've emptied most of the bins now. I think I've got another 3 bins of compost, which I'll be using, just putting around trees and shrubs, and it's a case of feeding the plants and building up the soil and keep caring. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Do you know what's interesting? I'm standing here and there's a little bit of a gap there in the hedge, and there's cold air blowing into my face. I never have cold air blowing into my face here. It's only when I go to the edges of the property where there's nothing on the other side. So this truly is a microclimate in here. It really is. Now I wonder, have I got time left on this video? Was it 23.5 minutes? Okay, so this will stop at 29.5. I might just have time to take you down the driveway towards the pond, and let you see all the frog spawn. Look at all this aqualegia coming up. It's just beautiful. And the blossom. So much life. Oh, it's gorgeous. And the shadows on the side of the barn. There's the boy. Jack loves all these wee paths here, you know. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? The sun just shining and the birds singing. And all the lovely leaves on the cotoneaster, look, just starting to come out by the front door. Beautiful. All the lovely rides. Look at this. Flowers galore. New leaves on the Photinia. those little baby trees in there, occupying the front lawn. Walk down the middle, won't be a noise then. Masses of forsythia flowers coming out here, just beautiful. Procosmia coming up underneath the tree, and Sinachia with new leaves, little buds coming out on the little hawthorn that I grew from a seed. The morning light on the bark of the tree. It's a great western cedar. And masses of frog spawn, and you can see it. Look at this. This is where life comes to be abundant. Look. Hasn't rained for a while. Look. This is Sophia. This is where Sophia is liberated. Look at this. Have you ever seen as much? And so much of it is down below the water. Look. Masses of it. And I've seen the crows down feasting on it. But still, as they feast, there's more and more. Isn't that amazing? The pond's quite cloudy because the frogs are all active. Now it's gone over 29 minutes. So I will say blessings to you all, and this will stop shortly.